All right, guys, welcome back to Pure Evil MMA. I'm your host, as always, Evil Eddie, and I have a very special guest for us here today, guys. I got Ultimate Fighter Season 27's standout, Jojo Giannetti. Skellator Giannetti. Welcome to Pure Evil MMA. Finally, I've interviewed so many South Shore boys, and the funny thing is I've known you first out of all of them. So it was only a matter of time before we got you here on the show.
Yeah, I'm glad to have me. Thanks. I mean, it's been too long, but we got it done.
So, Jojo, right now, the season started off with a bang. I mean, before we even talk about your fight, which I'm so proud of you, by the way, let's talk about how you found the Ultimate Fighter, because I was following it all along, like on your Snapchat and stuff like that. Like, you're like, oh, Season 27's coming out. I'm going to try out for that. So I'm following along with that. You fly out there. What happens from when you flew out to Vegas? What's the story?
So once you land, pretty much you just go to your hotel. The next morning, you go to the Palace Station Casino, and they have an event room. And you walk in, you fill out all your paperwork, and you do a minute and a half of grappling against somebody else that's trying out. You do 2 minutes of hitting pads, and then if you make it past both those steps, you go into a room and you do an interview with the producers. If you make it past that one, the next day you do a more intense interview.
Was Dana there for this season watching you guys try out, or no?
No, Sean Shelby was there.
Sean Shelby, which he usually is there. So once you got there, did you feel confident that you were going to be chose? Because as far as I remember, I remember the sheet coming out. I didn't see your name, so I was like, what the hell happened? Were you confident when you went in there, did the tryout, and did the interview?
I was nervous when I first got there, but I mean, after we did the grappling and the pads, I felt pretty confident that I was going to make it. It was just a matter of whether they liked me or not.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was confused when the list came out. A couple of them came out and my name wasn't on it. I think it's just because, nobody knows me yet.
Well, yeah, I was like, what the hell's going on? I was like, what? Like, this kid's undefeated. And I remember your fight before that. Like, you went in there and you choked the kid out. Like, I remember you, sitting in your corner, just, Indian style, powwow style. I was like, this kid stands out. And I remember it was streamed live on Facebook, and it was only a matter of time before something blew up that they discovered you. So I was a little upset when I didn't see your name on that list. But yeah, here you were on season 27, episode 1. So let's get to that moment. You get to Vegas. You're on the show. What's the first thing that happens before the cameras even start rolling? Or were they following you the whole time?
So when we first got there, they had us in the hotel. We filled out a couple more paperwork. They give us some Reebok stuff. And then pretty much we just go down, we see the gym, meet the coaches, and then right in the house.
So your first opponent was matched up against John Gunther. Did you know who Gunther was before? Because he said he wasn't really familiar with anyone in the house. Things just happened so quick. You guys were just all of a sudden there, you're fighting, and of course your nerves are going and stuff like that. So did you know Gunther before this all happened?
I didn't know anybody before the show. I mean, a couple of guys at tryouts caught my eye, because they don't tell you who made the show either. You just show up and see these guys.
Who caught your eye?
So when I showed up and saw him, I was like, oh, I remember him from tryouts. So I kind of had an idea of who was who.
Is that your dog next to you? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Thor.
And his birthday was, 2 days ago? Right?
Oh, no, that was Frazier. Thor's new.
Oh.
This is Frazier.
So Frazier's your dog, Thor's the puppy? Right?
Thor, he's the same age as Frazier, but I just recently got him.
You rescued him from, I remember seeing that on the Ultimate Fighter, you rescued him
from...
Yeah,
Thor was just in a bad living situation, so somebody called me up about him, and I took him.
So who really caught your eye once you showed up at the house? Who did you really think was going to be in the house after you did, the tryouts and all that? You said that a couple of guys caught your eye. Who were those guys?
John Gunther caught my eye, Jose Martinez, Luis Pena. They just did really well, so I just kept my eye on them, and I figured they'd make it. Richie Smolin, pretty much almost all the guys that made it had caught my eye, because they stood out the most to me, and obviously to the producers as well.
So in the first couple of days, what was the swagger like with everybody in the house? Because everybody's undefeated, which is something that we haven't seen in past seasons. I mean, there has to be some sort of swagger that goes along in confidence with being undefeated. So was there any like built tension or people kind of, being too swaggy?
I definitely think there was a lot of tension the first couple days, and everybody had their swagger. I kind of just kept to myself and did my own thing, and just let my fights talk for me.
So it seems like in that first episode, you were like, the tension was like, I mean, you're the first fight of the season. Like, what was it? Were your nerves shot? I mean, I remember you being like, holy shit, that was Dana White.
Yeah, it was surreal. Even after the fight, even watching it on TV with my friends, it's super surreal. But like in the moment, it was just another fight. I just boil it down to that. But when I got picked to fight, I thought that'd be the best matchup for me, so I wasn't too worried. And then right after the fight, I immediately was like, all right, back to training, back to getting ready for the next one. But yeah, it was awesome to watch.
Whose team did you want to be on going into this?
Personally, I didn't really care when I first found out who the coaches were. I mean, you can't lose in that situation. You either get the light heavyweight champ or you get the heavyweight champ. I'm definitely glad I got Team Cormier. We just blended really well, and I think that everything that they went over was where my game lacked or needed more improvement. So just getting world-class training and my biggest weaknesses was awesome.
And we saw you in there sparring with freaking Cain Velasquez, Joe. That had to be frustrating because he's such a big dude, and you got a little frustrated. What was that situation like?
That sucked. That was actually the first day of training. We got our gear, we walked into the gym, and DC was like, all right, get in the cage. And I was like, for what? And he was like, we're going to do shark bait. And I did 3 5-minute rounds. At first, they said 5 5-minute rounds. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And then after 3, I was on the verge of throwing up. And they walked out. They were like, you're all set. And I was like, no, we got 2 more, even though I was trying to not throw up. But, yeah, they cut me loose after 3. It was rough.
What was Cain like? I mean, from the most part, I mean, he seems like a quiet, to himself guy. But what was he like to you?
So Cain, I mean, he'll even describe himself this way. He only talks if it's something he knows about. Like, if you catch him on the street or something, he's super quiet because he doesn't know you. He doesn't know, like, anything about you. But you catch him in the gym where it's, like, his world, he'll go on and on and on. He has nothing but knowledge to teach. And every situation that we went through in sparring and training, he always had advice to help me get better. And it was an endless pool of knowledge.
So I've spoken to a couple of guys on your team, and you guys are all kind of named after superheroes. So it's interesting seeing some of the guys' names on the season, like the Violent Bob Ross and Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell, and then Skellator. So who do you think had the best nickname on the season?
I don't know. I think it's a 3-way tie between me, Bryce, and Luis.
Yeah.
I like Thug Nasty. Thug Nasty's good.
Why? Okay, so I've interviewed Bryce probably about a year, almost 2 years ago now, and he seems like a very quiet kid. I mean, he was even asking us. He was like, "Can I swear on your show?" Like, it kind of seemed like he was from kind of a sheltered family, and I'm not trying to say that's a bad thing or anything, but I was interested to see how he was going to do in a house with 16 guys. What was your first impression of Bryce when you first met him in the first couple of days?
Redneck Nate Diaz.
Why does he get this name Thug Nasty? He's like, that doesn't fit him really, or does it?
To me, I think it does. I mean, like, he just seems like he doesn't care, like he doesn't give a fuck, like he is who he is, and like no matter what you think, you're not gonna change Bryce. Like all the crazy out of this world shit, like that's who he is, and no matter what you think, he's gonna keep doing it.
Is he the youngest one on this season?
No, I am.
Oh, no shit, really? How old are you, Joe?
22.
No way, man. So one thing that we saw at the beginning of the episode was how close you are to your father. So are you at your dad's house right now?
No, I'm at my house.
So you got your own apartment and you got your own little swagger shop. What has the reaction been? Because you're back home right now. I know that you just like flew back out there to do whatever, and now you're back. So now it's on TV. Are you seeing a reaction from the locals?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more reactions from locals. Kids I used to go to high school with, even middle school, old teachers, they all kind of caught a little bit of it. And even if they didn't watch the show, they caught the replays on Fox Sports the next day.
Is this unreal to you?
Cool. Yeah, I didn't think I'd ever be a local celebrity.
I mean, going back, man, I'm 28, you're 22, so we kind of grew up with the Ultimate Fighter. That was like kind of our staple, really, of, you know, if we were at school, we can really turn it on. Like, at least for me, we had it on in the senior lounge all the time. And it's really sad that it's winding towards the end. How do you think that the Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series will do once, you know, the Ultimate Fighter, after the season is over? Do you think it will be a success?
I think it'll be a success. My only gripe with it is I think they should put on a couple more fights. I feel like 4 fights a night isn't enough. Because, I mean, they're tough fights. I think everybody that fights on the Contender is a badass. But 4 fights really doesn't make it a priority as far as something to watch. Like, when the Ultimate Fighter's on, not just my season, like, I make a block in my schedule. I got to sit down and watch this. But with 4 fights, I'm like, oh, I can catch it later.
So what about Cage Titans? Are all the fighters tweeting you, texting you, rooting for you? What has the reaction been? Because it seems like a lot of success has come from Cage Titans, especially in the last year with what the hell is his name? That just Manny Bermudez getting called up and you know, all the excitement. So
I think everybody's rooting for me. I mean, there's definitely a couple people that were hating on me, and now they're a fan of mine. So I don't know if it's because they kind of saw my story, if they just want to join the hype train. Either way, like, it's cool having fans. Yeah, I think mostly everybody's rooting for me.
Let's talk about Mike Dinella and Talia Dinella. How close are you to these two? Because Talia, like, I'm watching her Snapchat. She is probably your biggest fan right now, man. And she's like, you don't know what it's like. This kid picks me up at the bars at 3 a.m. if I need him. You know, what's your relationship like with them?
They're my family. I mean, like, we just have each other's backs. Like she said, I mean, I went to a Bruins game and she was out at a concert and she needed to leave and it was like 2 or 3 a.m. So drove down there, picked her up, took her home. They always have my back. I go out to Vegas for the Ultimate Fighter. I go out just to train for a week. Along with my roommate, they help me out. They take care of the dogs. So, I mean, they always have my back and I always have theirs.
Let's talk about Twitch really quick before we let you go. You just made a profile. I think it's very important that, you know, you guys connect with an audience and your fans, and Twitch is a great platform. So where can people find you on Twitch, Joe?
At Giannetti MMA. Giannetti MMA.
And you just made this yesterday. So these are going to be a whole new platform. You guys can jump on, see brand new material and stuff. What have you got so far? I know that I just kind of interrupted you. You're doing what, your first stream just now?
I didn't stream yet. I'm just playing to try and get some clips. I've been posting clips on my Instagram, my Twitter. I'm going to be doing live streams soon. 99% of the time it's going to be me cussing out the TV, but the other 1% it'll be cool shit.
So have you seen any responses from UFC fighters when it's because it's kind of like a fight night, even though it's all pre-recorded, watching you get that win in just a matter of seconds? Did you see a big response on Twitter from maybe some UFC fighters?
There might have been, but I didn't really see him. I mean, I think that was the fastest submission in TUF history, but I mean, I still think I'm a low-key fighter. I mean, so hasn't completely blown up yet. Like, we're just getting started. I think that they'll start tagging me soon, but I haven't seen anything yet.
Last question, Joe. Once you got that win, you looked over at Dana White and you said, "Can I get a win bonus?" Was it not made clear if you guys would receive win bonuses for finishes?
Not this season, no. Everything that we kind of knew about bonuses and pay and everything was just from what we saw in past seasons. And I got bills to pay, like I told him. So the second that fight was over, I thought I deserved it, and I let him know. So
how good of a relationship did you build with your coaches and stuff like that? Because I do see you using the hashtag no new friends.
Me and my coaches are awesome. Like I told them when I left, they're always going to be my coaches. Like I might not be training at AKA, but whenever I need help or anything that my coaches at home just don't have the best advice on for any particular reason, they're always going to be my coaches, and I'll always turn to them.
Joe, thank you so much for joining me here on Pure Evil MMA. It was only a matter of time. I mean, this is way long overdue. So I really appreciate you, taking some time out of your day. Guys, make sure you go follow The Ultimate Fighter Season 27, Episode 4 going down tonight. So, Joe, are you going to be live tweeting during that? Can everybody, follow you on Twitter?
Yep, at Giannetti MMA. I'll be live. I'll be tweeting during the show, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
All right, last thing, in case anybody's listening to the podcast, you can't see Joe's tag. If you want to follow him on Twitter, it's at GIANNETTIMMA. And the same thing on Instagram, correct?
Yep.
Joe, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this
you.
season, and have a great day.
You too. I'll talk to you later.
So there you go, guys. Jojo Giannetti joining us here on Pure Evil MMA, those South Shore Killers. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Subscribe down below here on YouTube, Podbean, Stitcher, wherever you're listening to this, Podomatic. I really appreciate it, and we have so much content coming your way. I finally got some great news for you guys. Well, I usually always have great news, but I just found out that Damon Martin has just been signed to My MMA News. We are building a great team here at My MMA News. Shout out to Eric Cowell, the boss man behind everything. And also, guys, check out some of our latest interviews. And I also spoke with TUF 10's James McSweeney, who kind of gave his predictions of the Ultimate Fighter, where it's going. And last but not least, Bellator Grand Prix, what his take is on that. He's fought a lot of the guys that are in the Grand Prix, like Matt Mitrione, like Roy Nelson. And we were also discussing maybe starting a podcast. Let me know what you guys think about me and James McSweeney starting up a podcast here on the Pure Evil MMA channel. Guys, have a great day. Subscribe down below, like I said. Get all the latest MMA news at mymmanews.com. I just started writing again, so I just released my latest article on the upcoming card for UFC 226. On paper, it really is starting to look like potential card of the year. You got headlined DC versus Stipe for the heavyweight title. The entire card is stacked. The entire freaking card is stacked. Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis. Come on. So check out my article at mymmanews.com, guys. Have a great day. White knuckles to the end. Behave yourselves.